Okay, I'm going to call the St. John Township Board meeting July 22nd, 2025 at 6:01 p.m. We stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mike, can you do roll call, please?
Holder,
Present.
Eric Stanich,
Present.
Captain LaRue, Adam Cedia, Steve Michalak, Fire Chief, here. Missy Michalak, Lake Hills Board President.
Here. Thank you. We're going to move on to our reports. We're going to start with our fire department reports, Lake Hills Fire Department, May and June 2025 financials, and your May and June 2025 calls and EMS reports. We have them.
Financials were looking well. I did pay off the loan we had through First Financial. I did not get ready to close the accounts yet, though. That will happen next week. Otherwise, everything's good. Reports that so I'm looking at the fund, the balance sheets on each one, and we have the First Financial checking, Chase Bank, and we'll match those ones from May. Point out, right? And the balance, one balance sheet, all for May, those all are the same, and then we'll go to June. Those all look like they also they all balance, they're all the same number at the end. So that looks really great.
Okay, we'll go with May first, present the report.
Yep.
Usually it's kind of about the same as St. John and Cherville. Then the Cedar Lake, Crown Point, Ire. Oh, we did state recovery for Cherville. And dispatch and error is we get dispatch for a town that's not ours, somehow we get it on the call. So I'm wondering what those are. But even though dispatch still generates a call number, so we have to report to the state that it was a dispatch and error. End of May, we were at 273 calls. June was kind of busy with structured fires, mostly for Cherville. So you see we have fire investigation for the first line now. I have 3 fire investigators on my department, so they get toned out for fire investigations. Assistant Chief Egerbrecht has broken, I think he's broken these down pretty well for where we've been. I'm going to get it read. So, mutually for St. John and Cherville, 3 EMS were equal for June. And then Cedar Lake, Crown Point, we went to Maryville. Maryville Mutual Aid, we did station standby while they had a structured, one structure fire of their own. And then out to Lake Dale, Lake Station. So end of June, we have 340 calls. As of right now, this month, we're sitting at 380 calls. So our
Lake Station, is that probably a rare one? No?
They need the tender. They need water. So
The tanker?
yeah, the tanker. Parts of Lake Station is unincorporated like we are. Don't have hydrants, and we had a pretty good one going. So they called, and also I think we took the air trailer on that one also. So things are going pretty well. I have 3 probationary firefighters in the academy for the second part of the year, so we're doing better with getting applications and such. And so rolling right along.
That's great, that's good,
Yes.
that's very good.
Did you guys have any questions about any of the calls, numbers? Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to accept the Lake Hills Fire Department May and June 2025 financial reports and their May and June 2025 calls and EMS reports as a matter of record. We have with us in our packets, the Dyer Fire Department reports reported by Chief Joe Martin. And
And just
he is not present.
Dyer, Sheriff St. John just does quarterly reports.
Okay. So as you will see, your Cherville Fire Department Q2 report, as well as your St. John Fire Department report quarterly. So if no questions, I'm going to accept the Dyer, Cherville, and St. John's Fire Department reports, the second quarter for 2025.
What I need to point out is that with St. John, you only have April, and that's because were having some software issues. So
Okay.
they weren't able to generate May or June, and they're still working on that. So anyway, they were able to produce April before they had the problem. So I would recommend you do Dyer, Cherville, and then St. John, just
That's
the
fine.
April portion. Yeah.
So we'll accept Dyer and Cherville's 2025 second quarter report, and then St. John, we will accept only their April reports pending May and June next meeting. We're going to move on to our trustee report.
Okay, so a few things I wanted to let you know about. We started the budget process, and I'm in the midst of working on a budget. I have a meeting with DLGF in August. You know that we have that cemetery with the major erosion problems. The engineer, our engineer estimated the cost to stop the erosion because the property is basically all, a lot of it is sand, right? It would be a metal piling wall. So his estimated cost is around $400,000. That's just a rough estimate to do that piling wall. So what I am doing is I am going through the process with DLGF to request an excess levy, to make an excess levy appeal. And it's a one-time thing, 1 year, where they might grant us, based on what needs to be done and the information that we provide, grant us a higher levy in order to compensate and to pay for that cemetery. So I will keep you posted and apprised with that. So in the meantime, though, in the fall, the engineer is going to work on having the cemetery hydro-seeded in order to start to hopefully slow that erosion a little bit until we do something permanent. So I don't know if you have any questions about that with the excess levy appeal or anything like that.
Was there still a plan to go forward with the Cherville Historic?
As of right now, no. And that's because there is a lot of requirements for them to do that. So, and the whole purpose of them doing that would have been just for the township in order for us to be able to maybe apply for grants that we wouldn't have been able to get with it being historic historic site. So, so instead, I'm looking for other avenues. If it came down to it, we would revisit that with the town. They're very open to that, but right now, if we can fund it other ways, then they don't have to do all of that. So the other thing is we are part of the new legislation. There is a requirement for a capital improvement plan, and I can have
I'll just talk loud, I guess.
Well, you know what, Adam, because you're right under like the,
Yeah,
Microphone.
I see
you
it now.
just have to move away from that and it'll work. But, Adam, can explain to you a little bit about the CIP and the legislation that's got everybody kind of scrambling.
Yeah, we're still wading through it ourselves. So, do you want me to jump in now or wait a little bit?
Well, you can explain to them about the legislation and what's happening with the CIP, that's the capital improvement plan. But townships now moving forward are required to do this every year. The problem is we just got the form from DLGF yesterday, and we're supposed to have this prepared into the county council within a matter of weeks. So I'm going to let Adam go ahead and I'll interject anything.
Okay, so yeah, the legislation was HB 1461. That's its bill number. And previously, only certain townships that met certain growth thresholds had to prepare a capital improvement plan. Well, as you know, there was the usual bill to abolish townships, and this year, I think, as a compromise measure, they came up with this, which requires every township to come up with a capital improvement plan. It says it has to be submitted to DLGF by September 30th of the year in which it's prepared. Except the problem is there's already a statute on the books from when only certain townships had to do it that said that the CIP, the capital improvement plan, had to be submitted to the county council at its first August meeting, where it considers the levy estimates from DLGF. So my position is, and it's still my position as I sit here, is that legislation requires us to submit it to the county council just for it to review at its August meeting. It doesn't need to take any action or approve it. The September 30th is the critical deadline, because if it's not into DLGF by that time, we don't get our share of the levy. Essentially, we don't get the money we're entitled to receive. So I don't think there's any consequence. Well, I don't think there are any consequences for us not submitting it to the county council in time, but I think we have to, and I don't want us to risk DLGF saying there are consequences for us not doing it. So in the future, we'll kind of get, the legislation became effective July 1st. DLGF came out with its form yesterday, and the county council, from what I understand, is August 7th is its first meeting where it would need to consider these. So we're on a time crunch. We'll probably get a better idea next year how this was intended to work. I'm sure they'll pass some new legislation next session to clean this mess up. But in the meantime, that's what we have to deal with.
And here's the thing with all of this. We're just starting the budget process. Like, we don't even have meetings available to meet with DLGF. We do Zoom to discuss our budget and for them to give us input and feedback until the end of July. So my meeting isn't until August 18th. This is just the start of your budget process. We're supposed to have the budget done in order to put numbers in for the CIP, capital improvement plan. And it's like you can't do a CIP before your budget, and yet you don't have, you're in the heart of just starting your budget. So, like Adam said, I mean, obviously, there needs to be something done so that the plan is, we can submit the plan and it doesn't have to go before the county council before we even begin our budget process. So all of that to say, we might end up having a special meeting. I'm working on the budget and working on doing the CIP and seeing if we can make that deadline. My understanding is that this year they'll be a little bit more, lenient because of we don't have much time. But the bottom line is the board does have to approve the CIP before it goes to the DLGF for sure. And
Yeah.
it really, before it goes before the county too.
I also emailed the county council's attorney asking him what their position is. I haven't heard back yet.
So, any questions about the CIP? No. A couple other things, wanted to let you know, GED is no longer meeting here downstairs. There was a new director, and last year they pulled it, the GED from Lowell, yeah, and this year, for multiple reasons, pulled it from here. They never paid anything to meet here. The township paid the phone bill. There was never a cost to them whatsoever. So now, I'll be looking at things of, ways we can utilize that space downstairs now.
Yeah, and then I don't know if you want to go into this, but we got a pretty thorough letter. They were complaining about the space. I think they were not legitimate complaints, but it was their excuse for vacating.
And I think that I gave a response to them under the guidance of Adam. He sat there and we typed my response. But yeah, there's things, that they, like you said, were complaining about, were grandfathered in.
Or my favorite one was they were complaining there were no windows, and I thought you didn't want windows in a classroom, so there wouldn't be distraction.
Yeah, so anyway, so they're not here.
And what did they pay?
Nothing.
Okay,
They got paid, their phone bill was paid.
The
and they're
township,
complaining, okay.
yeah, complaining, yeah.
Well, I don't know if you want to go into that, but there was supposedly, and I haven't spoken with anyone from the organization, but supposedly the director wanted everything to be located in Gary, and they were shutting down South County locations towards that end. That was, I have nothing to substantiate that, but it would explain the strange behavior of leaving all of a sudden. I'll just put it that way.
And what's unfortunate is, up until just probably this last year, our location had the highest amount of graduates from all the other locations. That's what I was told. And, people in our area there are people you wouldn't realize that need their GED. So you would think that they already had at least went through high school, but our area, there's still people that are very high functioning individuals that are successful without it. So anyway, all that to say, it's sad that it's going when it was so successful here. The other thing is I just want to let you know, Tuesday, August 5th is National Night Out. Town of Sherrville and Town of Dyer will be having theirs from 5 to 9. So we will have a table supporting their National Night Out, and we hand out treat bags that have on their township assistants available with our phone number. So, and then in the back of your packet, you have the DAV walk flyer that is well underway, and a lot of sponsorships, and I just want to let you know about that. So if you're able to come out or participate, that's on August 23rd this year, Saturday. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Kathy. We'll move on to our attorney report. Adam?
Sure. Aside from what we have on the agenda and what we just discussed, I want to go through some of the new legislation that went into effect at the beginning of the month. There's only two, obviously other than what we discussed, that I think should be brought to your attention. First is SB 472. It requires all local government units to adopt by the end of 2027 a technology resources policy and a cybersecurity policy that meets specific parameters. And then HB 1134 is interesting. It expands the topics on which you can have an executive session to include employee healthcare options, specific employees' compensation, employee handbook changes, review of negotiations on performance of publicly bid contracts, and solicitation of proposals that contain a bidder's proprietary information. So we will have to amend our form for executive sessions. And considering the handbook amendments we've gone through, now we have it, it has its own categories for those. So that's all I have.
What bill is that one?
SB, I just closed it out.
472.
No, that's, I'm sorry, that was the first one. This is HB 1134.
34. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Adam. We're going to move on to our board reports. Any board reports?
I have nothing.
Okay, we're going to move on to old business, approval of the May 27, 2025 board meeting minutes. Can I get a motion?
Make a motion for approval of the May 27, 2025 board meeting minutes.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. We're going to move on to new business. We have our May and June 2025 financials. Any questions? Kathy, any comments?
No, I think I just, again, just like I pointed out with Lake Hills, they use the same system, Township Web, and the fund, the end fund balance is the same on, with each account that we have, and for each month, and so it balances, and that's important to know.
Okay, I'm going to accept the May and June 2025 financials as a matter of record. We're going to move on to your May and June 2025 Township Assistant reports.
So obviously, you can tell by the reports, the staff still does an amazing job with just getting efforts for people to get assistance using other resources or sources other than the township. And again, that's the amount that we're seeing again with people with evictions and high utility costs. It's just, it has not ceased. It hasn't, it just continues. So, so whatever we can get, it helps so that we can stick within our budget. And these people are not evicted or they're not getting their shut-offs. So, but like I said before, the staff does an awesome job working with other organizations. And stopping these, right? I know Leah's here and the amount of evictions stopped is just amazing.
I have a question. Line 39 on the June report for the total value of emergency shelter for homeless individuals, non-township sources. What is that specifically?
Emergency shelter provided for homeless individuals.
$1,400. It's
That,
on the next line too.
right. Yep, it's on 39 and 40. So it was emergency shelter Because it was non-township sources, it might have been the same thing as before where number 7 says total value of benefits provided through efforts of township staff other than township funds. This one is just pointing out specifically that it's for shelter. Does that make sense?
Does it come from line 7 though?
Well, I would say 39 goes into line 7.
Okay.
Yeah, refers back to line 7.
Because I don't normally see that line marked on our regular reports, that's why.
Yeah, it just, the way it was paid out, it had to have been paid out for somebody that it was just assisted by other organizations. And it wasn't considered a regular shelter, but had to have been some sort of emergency.
Any additional questions from the board? No. I'm going to accept the May and June 2025 Township Assistant Reports as a matter of record. We are going to move on to number 3, Resolution 2025-07, amending employee benefits provisions in employee manual.
This is revisions for employees' time, the benefits they get for paid time off. It includes the vacation days. It includes the PTO, FMLA leave, holidays, and including birthday holidays, as well as they are being calculated now, although they're considered half days and full day time off, is going to be calculated by hours versus just days. And then we have an amendment to the bereavement and remove the words 3 consecutive, and it's just 3 working days. And that's if it's an immediate family, such as a parent, sibling, aunt, or uncle.
Can I get a motion from the board?
Make a motion for approval for Resolution 2025-07, amending employees' benefits provisions in employee manual.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. We're moving on to number 4, live streaming link of meeting.
And that's just so that it's in our agenda and in the record that it, as of July 1st, there's legislation that all public meetings need to be screened. And so today is our first one in July. And so from this point forward, all of our meetings will be taped, and then they'll be live on YouTube, and then they're going to be they'll be available on our website via link. And then we are required to keep them 90 days. It could be, we could keep them longer. And on our website, we have the meeting agenda always listed, the minutes once they're approved by the board, and now this will be added as well.
Okay, we're going to move on to citizen input. Any citizen input? Going once, twice, okay. Any and all other business that may come before the township board? Anyone? Anything? Okay, our next scheduled meeting will be here at the township board, will be held Tuesday, August 26th, 2025 at 6 p.m. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0.